Gurudev, the entire question and answer session we had so far, based on those discussions, what I could understand, that some way or other, whatever is being done, it is happening due to some sort of fear or due to lack of faith or that we do not trust the Almighty or Supreme Power. And just because of that, we keep on doing everything. If these two factors are not there, then everything will come to halt. No one will do anything. Is it so?
Spiritual inspiration aims to make you fearless. And from disbelief to belief, belief to reverence, reverence to allegiance, allegiance to love, it is a journey. And this progression depends on a person's potential and his intellectual ability, his understanding, and his inner state. Humans learn from experiences, learns from traditions, learns from cultural variations, learns by observing, listening, and reading. And as his intellect evolves and becomes more and more refined, then the process of learning and understanding begins to happen on a subtle level. It begins with disbelief, disappointment, or it may be due to non achievement. A person keeps on struggling in his life. He aims for worldly things and he wants to achieve something or the other in his life. In materialistic terms, you may call it happiness or joy. Now, that joy and happiness may come from people or objects. In both the cases, we can see the feeling of possessiveness develops. Why does the feeling of possessiveness develop? This feeling is outcome of insecurity within. We feel insecure in life, so to feel secure, we lean towards objects or other humans in life. The fact of the matter is that with each of us there is an observer, the witness consciousness that does not undergo any change, and everything else does change. It's impermanent and transient. Whatever is created, ultimately it gets destroyed. A human being, an animal, a bird, whatever that we see in the nature, that is born, and as soon as it is born, its journey towards end begins. Where the date of birth is, beneath it, the date of death is also there. It is written there, which we cannot read. The day we read it, we put the date. So, what is stable? What is eternal? Your inner self is eternal. It is witness conscious that is eternal. Since you have gained your senses from that time till this date, all the events that may have happened, favorable, unfavorable, convenient or inconvenient, respectful or maybe disgraceful, all these situations have been experienced by your witness conscious. And that has not imposed any of these things on itself. The self is free from all these things. And the day or the moment we experience that the witness consciousness is me only, that day your problems of life will come to an end. We are pure consciousness and the witness consciousness. This is what we need to experience. If you are connected to the witness conscious, then you are in constant state of awareness and in state of constant alertness. In such situation, you are not scared. You are free from fear. When you become fearless, then you begin to accept yourself. You attain oneness with yourself and experience inner joy. The beginning of your question is either associated with insecurity or is connected with lack of faith. So, in society, both situations are common. Both of these are subject to change. And when the process of transformation begins, then gradually the negative traits are left behind. And while moving forward in a positive direction, we leave behind all the negative attributes and also the positive attributes and attain oneness with our own self and with inner bliss. So it begins in these two ways, but the final destination is to attain oneness with our own self, experience the inner bliss. That's our goal and is also the final destination of our spiritual journey.
The confusion is about two things, call it acceptance or a kind of a denial. Uh, uh, the confusion is that should we do it or don't do it? If we do, then from within we feel that maybe our doer is arising. That's the reason we are inspired to do. And if we don't do, then we feel that we are lethargic and we don't feel like doing anything. Out of fear, we are accepting this.
Look, when you are aware and thoughtful and have inner purity and you want to do something, then for that you hear an inner voice, do this or don't do this. If you listen to that inner voice and inner voice is giving you indication to do this, then without hesitation you do it. You will certainly achieve success. And outcome is glory, that too is assured. If inner voice is indicating that don't do it, then at any cost do not proceed. Don't do it. This means that your inner voice is holding you back, then this is not favorable for you. Out of greed or attachment, if you happen to suppress your inner voice, then undoubtedly you will be in sorrow. It will have adverse effect on you. You will be in trouble. You may face humiliation because your inner voice did not approve of it. So, if a choice or a decision is to be made, then first of all, the voice which is coming from within, try to listen to that inner voice. And what you listen within, try to implement that. The confusion in your life will come to an end. And you will be able to take a firm and efficient decision which will be successful, will be glorifying, enriching, and will be for the universal well being. The universal well being includes your well being, that will also be accomplished.
In this, somewhere there is selfishness, isn't it, Kakaji? That I'm concerned with myself and not anybody else.
You see, if we talk about the inner voice is always absolute. There is no room for selfishness. Because when you listen to your inner voice, then your mind, intellect, or conscious is nowhere involved in it. Your inner voice comes straight from the soul. That is always true. And its result comes from cosmos and inner being. It will never cause you any harm because the inner voice does not depend on you. It is self emanating instinctive wisdom. That is the expression of soul. We recognize the self as inner voice only. So, if we listen to it, then we will be blessed.
Gurudev, I feel that saints are the ultimate scriptures. You also said that associating with a saint observing the life of a saint is enough for a sadhak. Then what all this which is going on, is this directed by saints, or it is just the fantasy of sadhak?
Saints inspire you from within. This inspiration by saint is necessary for the evolution of a spiritual aspirant. So they inspire keeping this in mind. And not just that, they ensure conducive situation for sadhak.
Gurudev, saints do not insist for any particular thing. They do not have strong likes or dislikes. So these strong likes or dislikes consume a lot of energy. Is that so?
They are free from prejudice. They are aligned with nature. And they live good inspired life. Therefore, on any level, they don't have any preferences. They don't even feel that this is the way it should be. Because in their view, the world is being governed by will of the God, also pervaded by him. Therefore, they consider themselves as a part of the same process. That's why they don't insist on anything if it is done or not. And they may give you suggestions. You may follow or not, up to you. They do not insist on that. Because they know that each individual expresses himself according to his own unique individual characteristics. If he acts, then he gets back its reaction from nature, since that person too is undoubtedly a part of that very nature. So, for any action, there will always be a reaction. It's the part of the game. No action means there will be no reaction. Reaction is the inherent part of any action. Where there is action, along with that action, the reaction inherent also expresses itself. No action means no reaction. No action is a state of nothingness. When this state gets disturbed, there is action. And where there is action, there is reaction.
So does that mean that if someone has strong likes or dislikes, that I need this at any cost? I don't even like this thing at all. I can't bear the sight of it. Then even his personality or his ego is equally rigid?
So, acceptable and not acceptable, and as you mentioned about likes and dislikes, one gets entangled in the mesh of their own perceptions. He suffers as long as one doesn't get rid of his strong likes and dislikes. Until then, the inner world would not develop at all. Stubbornness is not our life. Stubbornness is some sort of insecurity. Why are you so opinionated? Why do you time and again try to establish that you are correct? Because the perception that you are firm about, that will make you secure you have this misconception. And due to this illusion, we tend to have preferences and strong likes and dislikes because they become a kind of shield for us. And that with the help of that shield, we succeed in running away uh, from ourselves. Because running away from ourselves becomes a way of life. In their lives, there is no joy nor happiness because running away doesn't yield anything. By facing things, accepting them, we may get rid of all those problems.
Gurudev, in challenging situations, if acceptance is there, then personality or sadhak is evolved. I would like to explain this with an example. Like crude iron. When we give heat treatment to the crude iron and make steel, so the conditions which steel needs to bear are also given to the crude iron, and the required qualities begin to manifest. It becomes hardened, it becomes very tough. It can now resist any shock and it becomes stainless. So, similarly, if a sadhak accepts challenging situations, then the required attributes begin to manifest from within.
Those attributes grow, they attain maturity, they form our nature.
Gurudev, we deliberately make changes in iron and make it steel so that it may be used in particular situations. The same way, we train ourselves in many different ways. But Parmarth says that we should get rid of sanskar, we should not have conditioning. Then why don't we just leave these conditions and good traits? Why should we not renounce these sanskars?
Those traits will leave naturally, till then we need not discard them. When you are crossing a river, you cannot get out from your boat midway. When you reach the other end and hand it over to someone who needs it, the boat which you took across, the same boat may help others. Journey is not just reaching one end, reaching the other end is also journey. One person's journey is to reach this end and someone else is to reach the other end.